Greetings, gentle viewers. It's been a long fucking time. Left Behind. Tribulation farce. Oh, how my life has changed since I reviewed Left Behind. I crawled through the hilarious river of shit called the Apocalypse quadrilogy. I've discovered the truth about Jesus being a pagan sky god who was resurrected as a nun-raping skeleton. And I've seen flying Qurans set an author on fire. That has nothing to do with Christianity, but I think Jesus would have approved. In my non-review life, I've watched a lot of Christian movies, including the one about Christian parkour used to battle the Antichrist, the found-footage horror where wholesome teens in a church are haunted by a porn demon, and of course, the one where a girl with cancer discovers she can mind control people into becoming Christian. By the way, those are all on my list. And what have I learned since watching Left Behind? That it's actually near the top of both end times movies and Christiansploitation in general. If The Rapture, starring Mimi Rogers, The Seventh Sign, and Megiddo, Omega Code 2 didn't exist, then Left Behind would be the best end times movie I've ever seen. And that's sad. So it's with a heavy heart that I plow into Left Behind 2. Why is it heavy? Because no matter how awful this is to you, I know that I've seen far more films that are far worse than this, and you all have no idea how bad they can get. But that's usual when it comes to my show.
I have seen shit that'll turn you white.
Start the fucking movie! We start off with the discovery that in the world of Left Behind, all names are equal, but some are more capitalized than others. I kind of want to narrate this. Kirk. Cameron. Brad. Johnson. Etc.
It's been a week since the greatest disaster the world has ever seen.
Nah, it's been ages since Apocalypse came out.
A week since people all around the world simply vanished off the face of the earth. Actual numbers may not be known for years, but initial estimates are in the hundreds of millions.
Really? That sounds a bit high. Most rapture believers I've come across have a bit of a non-broad definition of true Christian. As in them, their friends, their church, and that nice stupid-looking man on television that they give money to. What is the criteria for rapture, anyway? The number's too small for all Christians, or all Protestants, and probably too high for, like, a smaller group like all Baptists. Is it a mix of several churches with different beliefs from each other who didn't know they were actually the same? Or did God do a lottery with all the Christians just to see who got into heaven in order to fuck with the minds of those left behind? Kind of like a Book of Job thing to see if they still believed in him afterwards.
Even more unbelievable and terrifying is the fact that every child from every country is among the missing.
There's gonna be one person somewhere crying a solitary tear at that line because it means that Left Behind the Kids is no longer canon. Also, there's more than a few 100 million children on Earth. Just saying. So, Buck, who based on his posture has never seen TV news before, goes on to talk about the devastation that the rapture has caused.
With everything from driverless cars to crashing planes inflicting their destruction across the planet, the death toll is sure to be astronomical.
And whose fucking fault is that? Do I seriously need to bring out the "if you believe in the rapture, don't fucking drive" rant again? Because I will! All of those people who were killed in the aftermath are now in hell, suffering in pain because some people didn't feel like walking the walk of their professed beliefs. Either that or getting to work a little quicker was more important than someone else's soul, you douche. And since God in this is omnipotent, he knew that this would happen. He's to blame as well. He set the system up and raptured them at times when he knew people would die because of it, robbing them of the 7-year chance to convert. Am I suggesting that God should have staggered the rapture and waited until it was safe to rapture someone? Yeah, I am. That's the thing about omnipotence. It makes everything really fucking easy. If I was going to do the rapture, that's exactly what I'd do. Not that I'd do the rapture, it's a stupid idea. Now he's got almost no forces left on Earth. Tactically, it's terrible.
Look at this.
Acts of violence, theft,
Young,
and property crimes are at
energetic,
levels.
honest.
Kirk Cameron was never honest.
My friends, I can only sit here before you now and tell you that for the first time in my career, I honestly don't know what to say.
The teleprompter was destroyed when a plane mysteriously crashed into the building about a week ago. Luckily, the only people killed were assholes that no one cared about. So, the story thus far. Buck Williams, Kirk Cameron, is a newly converted Christian that the Antichrist is interested in for reasons that I can only assume are at least semi-sexual. Everyone else just kind of orbits this binary star system of stuff that would make Kirk Cameron very uncomfortable if he noticed it. As you can see, things are collapsing in the aftermath of the rapture. People are damaging vans in slow motion. And the cops? Well...
Man, you didn't have to kill them! They were just kids! Every child from every country is among the missing. They were just kids! Every child is among the missing. They were just kids!
Buck Williams! Give him 2 minutes and he'll change the world. Hey, this is actually something new for Left Behind. A long shot of Kirk Cameron walking and standing that actually is a point. Sort of. He's being told that Nikolai Carpathia, the Antichrist with the name that makes Franco Macaluso look subtle, wants to see him. Thrilling.
Now, on a slightly different tack, what's your reaction to Rabbi Ben Judah, who's perhaps the world's leading religious scholar, who claims he's going to announce the single biggest piece of news in history?
He found the missing people? Of course not. Meanwhile, at the UN, it's nice to see that they're taking care of the important stuff in the wake of the rapture. Stuff like changing their symbol. So, there are times in Left Behind when the most logical thing to do is say why after pretty much every line spoken. Those times mostly come when watching Left Behind.
This world is in need of one thing above all else, and that is leadership. You have also heard them ask you directly to take this mantle upon yourself.
Why?
Sir, as you know, almost every currency has crashed completely.
Why?
There is little doubt that the entire world market could be just days from complete collapse.
Why?
Unless we can consolidate at least the major currencies.
Why?
But no one is going to allow one single world currency.
Perhaps no one would have. But now all of that has changed.
Why?
You are the one man that the entire world will accept to administer.
Why? And how did you get this number?
If there is no other alternative, I accept. Now, with control of all currency, we are finally in a position to make peace our only choice.
I'm glad that the soundtrack's there to remind me that world peace is, and always shall be, both scary and evil. So, seconds after reluctantly accepting the mantle of World Economics boss, he talks about how he's going to merge all the currencies. Because that'll help. And he's also going to destroy all religions, and announces that the afterlife is not real.
There is no heaven or hell. There is just us.
Here, now.
Why the fuck are they clapping that? They keep telling us that the world was shattered a week earlier. Religiosity increases after disasters. And even if it didn't, is it really the right time to announce your stupid and insane plan to destroy religion that would never work in the real world? My fellow Americans, times have been tough in the week since the towers fell in New York. We will remain strong, we will remain vigilant, and we will remain forever America. Thank you, and by the way, I'm going to outlaw Christianity and all the religions that heaven's not real. Be sure to tip your waiter. Maybe the devil's trolling the world, choosing a deliberately insane plan and then mind-controlling everyone so it works. It's a bit self-indulgent, but in Left Behind 1, he did tell a roomful of people his evil plan before wiping their memory seconds later. So it has precedence.
Please return to the flight deck immediately.
Where are my kids? They were sitting right here. Get down!
We are at 37,000 feet. Nobody just walked off this airplane. Captain Steele.
Poor bastard, he's having flashbacks to the Langoliers.
Captain Steele.
And Captain Steele still sounds like the name of a superhero. He starts dreaming about his dead/raptured/dead wife, and because Left Behind doesn't believe in the existence of nipples, it's not even a wet dream. Poor newly celibate bastard. I bet he feels ripped off. Usually my hand would be covered in semen at this point. Being a Christian is hard. Unlike me. Anyway, the rest of the Super Friends come round for a pep rally.
Hey.
The UN just wrapped up another press conference. Nikolai's not wasting any time. The way they're talking, he's not just Secretary General of the UN. It's more like he's president of the entire planet.
What are we gonna do?
Only thing we can do. Work together to share the truth with anyone who will hear it.
How do we stop him?
We can't stop him.
It's very, very simple. We get as many people as we can to join us in dying as we try.
What we have to do is fight him, all of us, together. Form our own tribulation force and spread God's word.
Only the very best terrorist cells begin with an acceptance that they can under no circumstances win. One of the fatal flaws of this series is that while our heroes cannot win, they also cannot truly lose because there's 7 years until Jesus comes back with his preordained victory. So the whole thing is a bizarre holding pattern where the heroes do something, but it doesn't really affect the Antichrist. Or the Antichrist kills a few of them, but it's never the stars. Rather than building up to an epic finale, it's like you're in a bad party with boring people and making awkward small talk until the stripper finally arrives. 7 years later.
The Bible makes it clear the Antichrist will hunt down and kill every Christian he can find. Admitting you're a Christian during the tribulation is just like marking yourself for death.
So, armed with the knowledge that they will A, not win, and B, indirectly kill everyone they convert, they happily begin working on a plan to get converts. Most people would be conflicted or feel guilty about this, but they're not most people anymore. They're robots, devoid of pity and/or humanity. What's the plan? Locate some prophets that appeared in Jerusalem and set people on fire, and then film them. Preferably while setting people on fire. They're at the Wailing Wall, so the UN have locked that whole section of the city down. Because that's likely. The devout Jews in Israel are not about to be okay with the UN kicking them off their holy site, or dissolving their religion and being forced to join an atheistic omni-faith set up by a Transylvanian with a silly name. Sometimes I think the makers of these films don't realize that everyone else is just as into their country's sovereignty and religions as they are into theirs. And the rest of the time, I know it for a fact.
I gotta get over there.
Are you crazy? You could get yourself killed. Why can't someone else go?
Because I don't trust anybody else to stick to our mission.
It's nice to see that Buck has the same disdain for his compatriots as they have for the rest of humanity.
What can I do?
The United States government just gave Nikolai a brand new airplane. He needs pilots.
And?
And you've flown dignitaries plenty of times.
No.
You learn something new every day. A suburban pastor has the ability to offer a guy a job as the Antichrist's personal pilot.
Ray! Hear me out. All right? These are not ordinary times, but we can't go back to the way we were.
You are asking me to drive Jack the Ripper from door to door so he can kill people. I'm not going to do that.
Did you see From Hell? That motherfucker got his head crushed. One small problem, though. Carpathia's not really Jack the Ripper. He's more like Idi Amin when he was a boxer, slowly building up to mass murder. So Captain Steele refuses the job. If it's that easy to get someone a job as the Antichrist pilot, then why doesn't the pastor just get it himself? Sure, he can't actually fly a plane, but flying lessons are not that hard to arrange.
I can't believe you're gonna do this.
Hey, Chloe. I am not gonna let anything happen to me. I promise.
So Buck and Captain Steele's daughter, who really needs a sidekick name or something. Titania, maybe. Yeah, that'll do. Anyway, they're a couple because a week's a long time, damn it. And every time I have to sit through what passes for romantic scenes with them, I remember two things. One, they won't kiss because Kirk Cameron won't kiss anyone he's not married to in real life, therefore making this about as fake as a gay romance in an average PG-rated movie. And two, that I've seen her tits. And through the magic of me owning Lex on DVD, you can almost have seen her tits too. Thank me later with money.
What's your plan to get past Nikolai's men in Jerusalem?
I plan to get access.
You are a fucking genius! Sarcasm, sarcasm, sarcasm! Buck heads into work so he can have an emotional reunion with this woman who I didn't recognize without her forehead tattoo. It's been a rough week. It's changed everyone inside and out. He also gets shouted at by a large black woman, often the best audience avatar possible.
Mr. Williams, who gave you clearance to waltz in here and take over this space?
Hey, Verna. How you doing? It's been a long time.
Drop the chit-chat and just answer the question.
Thank you.
You will not touch, use, fool with, or otherwise employ this equipment unless you have my personal clearance in advance. Furthermore, you will not be involved in the creation, development, or broadcast of any specials while you're working here. Are we crystal?
I love it when that arrogant son of a bitch gets taken down a peg or two. Even having him step in dog shit would be a minor victory. This is the Chicago GNN office. So either Buck worked in Chicago and left behind one, and followed Captain Steele home for literally miles on foot for no reason, or in the past week, Buck has moved from New York to Chicago. And truly, that's the best thing a newsman could be doing in the middle of a global crisis. So Buck's been told that he can't work on any non-assigned projects, he can't go over his boss's head, and most of all, he can't just decide to cover what he wants to cover. And apparently, this is terrible. Also, the fact that he can't rape small forest animals is tantamount to a war crime. So he steals a bunch of GNN equipment and takes Ivy, the white woman who is more easily recognizable and left behind one, back to his flat. They're going to ignore what the boss has said. Because disobeying her doesn't count if he never goes into work. So Buck is paranoid because the UN guys knew his home phone number. He can't understand how the mind-reading ruler of the world could possibly know his phone number. Him, a lowly B-list celebrity.
Did you give Steve Plank this number?
No.
I don't know how they found me.
And he's right to be paranoid. He's meeting with the Antichrist the next day and has just set up a rebel group to fight him. He is actively working against him. He has to be careful and convince the Antichrist that he's not a threat. I'm mentioning all this now because he's dealing with that paranoia by going to church, in public, while the pastor talks about how evil the Antichrist is, and how Nikolai Carpathia is the Antichrist.
How many have heard of the Tribulation?
It's shit, but it's not as bad as Apocalypse.
The Bible predicts that there will be a treaty between Israel and the rest of the world. That treaty will be brokered by a great leader. The signing of that treaty will mark the beginning of a 7-year period of darkness. That's what we're talking about when we refer to the Tribulation.
So what's going to happen?
Good question, Jason Jones from The Daily Show. I'm not being sarcastic, that really is him. This is a really nice and full church. So many people are attending. It's amazing considering that 10 minutes ago it was forcibly turned into a field hospital.
I got a seriously burned fireman here and need some help. The hospitals are all full. I need a bed.
But that was minutes ago. Anything could have happened since then. Maybe all the injured in the world got raptured off screen. Or they could all be locked in the janitor's closet.
What's going to happen? The world will experience judgments, terrible judgments, devastating wars, famines, plagues, and those judgments are represented in prophecy by these guys. How many have heard of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse?
You're interrupting the fucking service.
Now, who is this first horseman? I believe he represents the Antichrist.
Isn't it astounding how unliterally some biblical literalists take the Bible? It's almost as though it's open to interpretation. Fucking amazing.
Is he going to kill us all?
No. Other passages make it clear that he will triumph not through force, but through diplomacy, through peace.
That's what Nikolai Carpathia is trying to do. But Nikolai can't be the devil. All he talks about is peace and harmony.
He will triumph not through force, but through diplomacy, through peace.
But Nikolai can't be the devil. All he talks about is peace.
Some movies are so easy to turn into feedback loops. Outside, Buck has briefly turned the movie into an extra feature on a Way of the Master DVD. And Ray Comfort is delighted that his friendship with Kirk Cameron is finally paying off.
You just said you were a good person. Have you ever lied?
Yeah, well, who hasn't?
So what does that make you?
Human.
Come on, Chris, be honest. If you've murdered somebody, that makes you a murderer. So if you've lied, what does that make you?
Okay. A liar.
If telling a single lie makes you a liar, then logically telling the truth once should make you a truth-teller, meaning you have a logical paradox. Luckily, this movie uses the one-drop rule approach to morality. It's a fucking terrible approach to morality. It's only lucky because it means we're spared from watching Kirk Cameron's brain seize up on screen. Telling lie means liar. Telling truth means truth-teller. Liar does not equal truth-teller. Does not compute. Does not compute. Does not compute. Does not compute. This Q&A is taken directly from Kirk Cameron and Ray Comfort's Way of the Master series, and is a dishonest and stupid attempt to sidestep logical arguments for God's existence by convincing people that they're scum and therefore God exists.
By your own admission, you're a lying thief and an adulterer at heart.
And look at Captain Steele. Even he realizes exactly how stupid this argument is.
I can't accept that.
Screw this. I'm going home to watch The Atheist Experience. At least their callers sometimes make sense.
God calls all men everywhere to repent. Come up here, right now. Turn from your sins. Praise God.
Yes. Fucking brilliant. Learn about the Antichrist and how he's taking over the world and then become a Christian in front of a fucking crowd. It's like they're actively trying to make sure they fail against the Antichrist. Listen, if God's decreed that you're gonna fail, it's gonna happen. You don't need to force it. Also, the Bible says that you should pray in private. Clearly it was giving you a secret message about how much better it is to rebel against the Antichrist's rule by staying hidden. Also, comparing these two scenes, it's a bit like the movie's attempting a good cop, bad cop thing in its non-Christian audience. Which is in total me. Joke's on them. I choose Axe Cop.
Listen after when what will be has been before. Even when you're bleeding, standing of God.
You lost someone too?
No, I'm doing what's called a bereavement safari.
Yes, I...
There's a path that leads through pain. There's a freedom that...
Hello? Yeah, hi, Chris. What's going on? Chris?
Chris, I'm sorry, I can't hear you over an off-screen busker. I'm not sure who Chris is or why I should care about him. Oh, it's him! Anyway, Chris is suddenly suicidal, as you can clearly see in these earlier shots. If anything, he looks colossally pissed off with everyone's bullshit. The things that being exposed to Kirk Cameron can do to you.
So, Chris, by your own admission, you're a lying thief and an adulterer at heart. And that's only 3 of the 10 commandments. So if God judges you by those standards, do you honestly think you're going to be innocent? Or guilty?
I guess I'd be guilty.
Chris, that's the point.
Chris, it's me, Ray. Get out. Chris, why don't you give me that gun?
Don't. Not unless you want to die too.
You need to put your faith and your trust in God, and you need to do it right now. You need to trade that gun for God.
But God's not good for shooting things! Except for me, of course. Observe. So we can see Captain Steele making a hell of a leap because he argues that Chris shouldn't kill himself because his wife's in heaven. Because he's just assuming she got raptured.
She's in heaven with my wife and my son.
What if she was killed in the aftermath of the rapture, say by a falling plane? Making a believer would just make him more likely to kill himself so they can be together in hell. It's almost as though the film's story is obsessed with raising unpleasant points that it refuses to fucking deal with.
I just confirmed there were 2 men preaching when those people got burned at the wall.
What? How? You were just outside playing dueling apologetics. How the fuck did you confirm that? Kirk Cameron's secret weapon of journalism. Faith. He doesn't need your stinking facts. Hey, where the fuck are all those newly saved Christians from earlier? The kind that'd have questions and shit? Or are you just letting them assume that they know everything now because they have faith that they do? Oh. Kind of explained the whole film's main theological thrust there, didn't I? Anyway, because this film is less a film and more a stream of events that take much fucking longer than they should, Captain Steele is finally going to take the pilot job.
You two are both crazy. You want to work for the Antichrist and you want to have lunch with him?
Why don't I know any famous people?
Whatever.
Remember when Titania Steele was independent and a character? Well, I don't remember either, but at one point she wasn't exclusively interested in the well-being of the men in her life.
I don't even know if you're going to be alive tomorrow.
Everything okay?
I have to ask you something.
Sure, come on, sit down.
What do you think about relationships at a time like this?
Well, Chloe, I'm a little busy running a church right now, and interracial relationships are a bit like evolution. It happens in the real world, but this film doesn't believe in it.
I think you ought to talk to him.
You're right.
So Titania Steele goes to Buck's place, where of course she finds Ivy living because of their secret project that's so secret he didn't think to tell the rest of his terrorist cell about it. So drama, and misunderstanding, and angst, and Titania assuming that she's Buck's fiancé because this movie needs fucking padded with yet more pointless shit.
You gonna get that?
It's him.
What the fuck happened to you between these movies? Yeah, you weren't great in the first one, but at some point you turned into a walking Bechdel test failure.
Mistress, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the Avatar Artist in Humor took offense to one of your earlier jokes, and we caught her at the gates.
Good. Stab her a few times, slap a tracker on her, and let her go. I want to know where the fuck she keeps respawning from so I can put a fucking end to it.
Oh, Mistress, I wanted to save time, so I burnt her with all the other corpses.
Ah.
I was just trying to be useful. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You showed initiative and you caused your pain. Just burn your forearm down to the bone and we'll call it even.
Okay, Mistress.
Well, yes. I am the nice one. So, Buck takes the lift from his flat, but the Antichrist minions have taken control of said lift and take him to the roof to meet it with Carpathia. A building that size, there's gotta be more than one lift. So they've hacked the entire lift system to set up a surprise meeting with a guy they were planning on meeting anyway.
There is a whole world out there looking for answers, Buck. And I'm sure you'll agree that the most important thing right now is seeing they get the right ones. That's why the UN has decided to assume control of the world's major media. What? Sounds like you don't approve.
Well, a free press is the cornerstone of a free world. Leadership without accountability does not sound very compelling.
A week to end the free press. At least that's a couple days more sensible than Apocalypse. So Carpathia wants Buck to run his media efforts. Again, because I assume he wants to fuck him. Ugh, they say your name is Buck. Do you know what Buck means in certain parts of Ireland? It means to fuck.
In a world of fear and suspicion, a voice like yours is the most powerful weapon in the fight for peace.
And if I refuse?
I don't think you can.
Because I will throw you off the building.
If I do this, I need complete freedom to cover any story I want.
Of course.
And I want total UN security clearance. If I'm going to report the truth, I need access to it.
I welcome the accountability.
So, I am ending journalistic freedom, but giving you total journalistic freedom and access to everything because I assume I've mind-controlled you, even though if I had, we would not have had to have this conversation.
Good choice, Buck.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to cover the peace treaty.
No. The Ben Judah announcement, that's the event, all right? Believe me, it'll be the biggest story of your career.
Why is this speech so important?
Clearly, he found the missing people.
Come on, buddy. You're the reporter. You figure it out.
What are you doing here?
Chloe, I need to talk with you.
No, go away.
Chloe. Hey, I'm not leaving until you talk with me.
Ah, Kirk Cameron, pulling the same shit he normally does at science conventions.
Daddy!
Yeah?
Buck's here and he won't leave.
What do you want me to do? I'm taking a shower. I got soap in my eyes.
Get rid of him.
Well, he's not here to see me.
Great.
Captain Steele is the worst dad ever. He's like the midpoint between the crazy, controlling traditionalist dad and a man who doesn't give a shit that his daughter's convinced she's being stalked by a guy twice her purported age. You'd think there was a sensible, happy medium between the two assholes, but no. He manages to be both.
You have 9 minutes.
Oh, fuck, I hope not! This whole thing is fucking tedious. If Buck had let his fellow religious resistance know what he was doing, this could have been avoided. If Titania Steele wasn't written like a 12-year-old, this could have been avoided. And you know that secret plan Ivy was working at Buck's flat? So far, it's come to nothing. As in, I don't even know what she's doing. And because Titania Steele is wearing what looks like the same dressing gown as Ivy was a few scenes ago, I can only assume that Ivy's got no work done because she and Titania had some Kirk Cameron-fueled hate sex off screen.
Ivy?
Mrs. Ivy Williams. Cute.
I am not engaged to Ivy, or anybody else. She's just crashing at my place. She's my assistant.
I feel like such an idiot.
That's a subplot from a bad romantic comedy. What the fuck is it doing in an apocalyptic spiritual thriller? Everyone in this movie is so fucking stupid in different but similar ways. It's like there's a color wheel of stupid and they're taking up half the spectrum. So here's the plan. Buck's gonna use his UN clearance and media access to get to Israel and film the two prophets and their fire breath. This will reveal who the Antichrist is to the world. This is, of course, the exact same plan that they've had for most of the film. I'm just reiterating it because the film seems to think that it's a new one.
Bruce, I've been praying. And I know this is the way to go. Guys, the Antichrist has powers we may not even be able to comprehend.
Like heat vision!
Guys, the Antichrist has powers we may not even be able to comprehend. We walk by faith, not by sight.
Give me 1 minute. Cut a minion's eyes out because I want to demonstrate exactly why that line is fucking stupid!
Yes, mistress.
Hey, what are you doing with that spoon? No! No!
Do you believe there's a corridor in front of you?
Yes, mistress!
Do you believe?
Yes, mistress!
Do you have faith?
I have faith, mistress!
Then walk! Do you see why it's a stupid line now?
I am troubled by the developments at the Wailing Wall. These men, these self-proclaimed preachers, are dangerous.
Why don't you just arrest them?
I don't want to put them in jail. This is not a dictatorship.
Really? Please inform the rest of the film.
The world is in shock, Mr. Plank. Millions vanished. No rational explanation. People are grasping at straws. It's our duty to give them faith.
How, Nikolai?
By creating spiritual unity, of course. A one-world religion.
That's not a plan, that's a goal.
How does this create harmony?
I don't know. Why don't you ask that Pastor Billings? Oh, wait, you can't. He was raptured and left behind. So, why is GNN playing a greatest hits of raptured random American pastors? Answer, it's better than the alternative.
Yes, Mr. President?
Go channel 10.
And according to that ultra-necessary caption, we're in Jerusalem. Yes, whenever I hear that generic Middle Eastern music and I see the massive, gigantic, golden tit that is the Dome of the Rock, I think to myself, perhaps we're in Strasbourg.
Okay, all right, one more hand.
Okay.
Oh! Okay, have a silly one.
I think there's another one.
Okay.
You feel like a cookie?
Why, do I look like one?
Did they ad-lib this scene? Oh, fuck, I hope so. So Captain Steele's flying the Antichrist from evil engagement to evil engagement, and why the fuck is she working so closely with the Antichrist? She was a stewardess a week ago! Well, that 2 inches is clearly more than enough hiding space.
Hey, it's me. What are you doing?
I'm trying to see what I can find.
Be careful.
Did Kirk Cameron just pop up to let us know that stealing from the Antichrist is fucking dangerous? Really?
I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
His attempt at hiding was fucking awful to begin with, and you just drew attention to it. And in the film itself, you just drew attention to him. And you are fucking pointless because even when it's handled as badly as this, we know this sort of scene is supposed to be fucking tense. It's bad enough when the music feels the need to bash. This is tense over our head musically. But this is like having someone enter the room in the middle of a sex scene, stand there staring, and finally say, whoa, this is really hot. And you know what else? Captain Steele's not actually doing anything behind the curtain, other than talk with Buck about how dangerous this is. He then leaves the safety of the curtain to steal info from Carpathia's laptop, which isn't even password protected. He has mind control powers, but he can't lock a fucking laptop! And how does he steal stuff from it? By stealing a disc from the Antichrist, of course. And it takes 5 seconds to download to the disc. It's a short, fucking Word document and it takes 5 seconds to download. Or it's the laptop's entire memory and it takes 5 seconds to download. I don't know which possibility is worse.
Captain Steele, is there something I can help you with?
I was looking for Hattie. I wanted to give her our ETA.
Miss Durham speaks very highly of you. She tells me you once worked together?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
That past relationship, did it extend beyond the workplace?
No, it didn't extend beyond the workplace.
Good. I'd like to know where everyone stands.
Even though I have mind control powers that I'm apparently too damn polite to use. You see, the Christians aren't the only ones walking by faith. And then, this happens. Well, isn't that fucking special? Not just walking by faith, but walking without eyes. So why didn't Buck see that when he shook Carpathia's hand earlier? Was that the satanic equivalent of an internet screamer? Does he go around touching people just to show them his true face and freak them out?
Yeah? Hello, I would like to share my love of Jesus with you.
No, I'm the Antichrist.
No. You're not anti-Jesus. Jesus loves everyone.
Nice to see that we finally reached the one shot where they were allowed to be interesting. It's just a pity they got drunk before shooting it. Also, that caption fucking lies. It's fucking Strasbourg and everyone knows it. So, what was on that disc? Well, the big announcement from the rabbi. The biggest announcement in history, coming barely a week after the rapture. And it is, of course, that Nikolai Carpathia is the Messiah. All of the millions of people who discover that their missing loved ones aren't quite as important as that are gonna be pissed. So how does this rabbi, who the movie thinks is the world's most foremost religious scholar, know that he's the Messiah?
Medical records show that when Nikolai was 6 years of age, he was pierced through the chest by a farm machine without breaking a single bone. The Messiah will travel to Egypt as a young child.
Neither of those things are in the checklist for Messiah, you fucking morons. That's a collective view for everyone who had a hand in writing this speech, fictional and otherwise. So they decide to go see/rescue this rabbi so he can instead announce that Jesus is the Messiah. And when he inevitably does, I'll point out that from the perspective of Judaism, Jesus can't be the Messiah.
Can I read to you?
Oh hey, they wheeled the Burns victims out of the closet. Titania Steele's reading the poor man the Bible. Because, I guess, they somehow ended up with a Christian. Or they convinced him to convert while in an emotionally and physically damaged state. Or they just own him now. Israel, where the goats run free in outdoor restaurants. The part of Israel in tonight's film will be played by a community theatre stage and some cheesy music. It's a step down from a shack in a cornfield. Buck's trying to convince the rabbi to go to the Wailing Wall with him and meet the fire-spewing prophets. The rabbi's convinced that the prophets are evil and Carpathia is the Messiah. Which is weird because the first thing the Messiah must be is Jewish. Anyway, Buck and Captain Steele were sure that the rabbi had concluded that Jesus was the Messiah, but was being forced by Carpathia to say that he was instead. So either Buck and Captain Steele were wrong, perish the fucking thought, or the rabbi is being mind-controlled. But if he worked out that Jesus was the Messiah, then wouldn't he be a Christian, and therefore immune to the mind control? Of course, there is the possibility that the rabbi worked out Jesus was the Messiah, but didn't say the correct words in the correct order to officially become a Christian in God's eyes, and therefore was not defended against the mind control. But that is a side effect of suggesting that Christianity operates via literal magic spells. Of course, the rabbi could have looked at these newly invented criteria for the Messiah, and decided that Carpathia fit the bill, and at the same time forgot Jesus existed. But if that's the case, then how the fuck is he the world's most foremost expert in anything? Of course, the last possibility is they're fucking stupid! Anyway, the rabbi's going to join him at the Wailing Wall so they can broadcast the truth about the prophets. And that truth is that they breathe fucking fire.
He wants access to the Wailing Wall. He wants to discredit the witnesses.
If I thought he could.
I want 24-hour monitors on all GNN broadcasts. Immediate notification on any footage from the Wailing Wall. Go. An official press release. Due to extremist threats against the Wailing Wall, any and all trespassers will be shot on sight.
Mr. Williams, you will have full UN access to everything that you want. You'll just be shot on sight if you decide to use it.
But I still don't know how we're going to get to the Wailing Wall.
Well, God got us this far. He'll take us the rest of the way. You just get Ben Judah there and let me take care of the rest. Besides, I told Chloe that I'd look out for you.
Hey, listen, Ray, you know, I really have no idea what you must be feeling, having lost your wife, your son.
I only lost a kiwi with a banana-sucking fixation. Buck and the rabbi get guns shoved in their faces as they try to approach the wall, but through the miracle of singing, and the time stoppage it causes, they get past the soldiers and to the wall. Yay for magical powers that will shortly be forgotten. The wall, which has a disappointing lack of wailing, is clearly as closely related to the actual Wailing Wall as the Dome of the Rock is to a cheeseburger. Did they even look at a photograph before designing this set? So it turns out that even the most learned of rabbis have but one weakness. Extremely basic Christian apologetics.
It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast.
Got it.
For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish.
In the name of the Son of God.
He is the Christ, Jesus.
Adding an echo to the voice does not make it any more impressive. Case in point! So the rabbi is converted instantly, and when the song finishes, the soldiers arrive, and we discover that Jesus came not to bring peace, but a flamethrower.
Revenge is a dish best served on fire. Fireman, stop, drop, and die.
Based on random shots like this, I get the feeling the makers think every Christian was employed as a refuse collector. Back at the church, the badly burned man converts to Christianity. My guess is it's a mild form of Stockholm Syndrome. and literally seconds later he dies. It's not a case of, he's dying so he wants to convert. Oh no. There is no indication that he's dying. He's lucid and wants to convert, and then dies for no discernible reason. It's like he badly wanted to escape the movie and get to heaven. And coming right after the fire-breathing prophets, we are reminded that the man's burns are likely God's fault because he was injured in the immediate aftermath of the rapture. Probably because of one of the many rapture-caused accidents.
You're so great.
I know! You could have given him painkillers and eased his suffering, but you followed Mother Teresa's example and didn't budge at all. Want a couple of last-minute pieces of insane? Carpathia is going ahead with the speech by the rabbi, even though we saw enough of the conversation between him and the prophets to cut the live feed of the meeting.
Got it.
He honestly believes that the general public are smart enough to side with the prophets, but the world's foremost expert in religion... I assume he'll stay on side. Their arguments can't have been that convincing. Call it walking by faith.
Ready for the broadcast?
Please.
Here we go.
And after years of study, my team has concluded beyond the shadow of a doubt the identity of the Messiah. Based on 456 messianic passages and 558 references from the most ancient rabbinical writings.
Oh look, several minutes of messianic prophecies that a rabbi would find comical at best.
There is only one person in history who fulfills all these prophecies. And his name is Jesus Christ.
Now, I'm not much of a rabbi. I know, it's the beard, isn't it? But there is a reason the word Jew is not spelt C-H-R-I-S-T-I-A-N. Because most, if not all, of the messianic criteria listed in this film are complete bullshit. Some were made up after the fact to defend the early Christians' idea that Jesus was the Messiah. Others were made up for this film to give more criteria for Jesus to fulfill. And that's mostly fine. Christians and Jews are not going to agree on this. If they did, they'd be the same religion. But in Judaism, the Messiah needs to be Jewish, descended from King David on his father's side, needs to be the military leader of Israel and win a lot of battles, he needs to bring all the Jews to Israel and restore them to full observance of the Torah. He will be a man, not the Son of God. So now you know why Jews don't tend to agree that Jesus was the Messiah. If you want to know more, ask a Jew, preferably a rabbi. Oh, and apart from all that, the rabbi just got a very basic dose of Christian apologetics and instantly converted on the spot. He was the world's foremost religious scholar. How do you become that without an exposure to basic Christian apologetics?
What's your reaction to Rabbi Ben Judah, who's perhaps the world's leading religious scholar?
For fuck's sake, I know basic Christian apologetics, and it's just a hobby for me. I don't need apologetics to confirm my godhood, because actual gods don't need to convince you of anything! It's almost as though the makers of this really can't conceive of someone reading their holy book and honestly coming to a different conclusion from them. I am literally God, and I cannot be that arrogant.
This is not the end! This is my time! My will be done!
Something vexes thee?
I can see why Carpathia is so pissed off. He's one of the few people who has even less of a claim to be the Jewish version of the Messiah than Jesus. At least Jesus was Jewish. You know what else is weird? Everyone in this multi-religious crowd gets instantly converted by the rabbi's speech. Surely, if his educated opinion is held in that high a regard, then why were the crowd not Jewish beforehand? And then there's a final reminder that everyone in this world is stupid as Buck walks into the church, mid-service, and hugs everyone in celebration of how they pulled the wool over that evil old Antichrist's eyes. What's stupider? The idiot being an idiot in public, or the idiot who doesn't fucking notice? So, God as portrayed in this film. He's still a cosmic monster, but now he's a trollish cosmic monster. He's supposed to pretty much leave the earth to the devil for 7 years, and he's directly helping his side trick the other. It doesn't bother me that much, But seeing a God who cannot defeat the devil without dishonesty, cheating, and lies is pretty funny. And seeing as the world's supposed to be the devil's right now, one could almost call Carpathia's breakdown at the end righteous, maybe? That was Left Behind 2, Left Behinder, and it shouldn't exist. It's not a story, it's a holding pattern before a finale. A holding pattern that could have been handled as a subplot in Left Behind 1 or 3. This shit doesn't need its own film. It's the Twilight New Moon of the Left Behind series. Not just shit like Left Behind, but pointless too. I promise I'll get on to Left Behind 3 sometime. It's the breaking dawn of the series. But first things first. I have an avatar of decent humor to find.
How did you ladies end up out here anyway?
Well, officer, it's quite a story.
People keep dying! She needs to be put down. You chained her up?
Ram this in your clam-baked bitch cake.
Previously on Left Behind 2, Tribulation farce. People were fucking stupid. And now the continuation, where the same people will be fucking stupid.